Growing your own tea, cultivating and harvesting tea leaves. Growing your own tea, cultivating and harvesting tea leaves. For many tea lovers, the idea of growing and harvesting their own tea leaves is an appealing one. Not only does it offer a deeper connection to the tea-making process, but it also allows for more control over the quality and flavor of the final product. While growing tea may seem like a daunting task, it is actually quite simple with the right knowledge and approach. In this article, we'll explore the basics of tea cultivation and harvesting for those interested in growing their own tea at home. Understanding the tea plant. Before we dive into the specifics of growing tea, it's important to have a basic understanding of the tea plant itself. Camellia sinensis is the plant species from which all tea comes, and it is native to Southeast Asia. It can grow as a shrub or tree, and can reach heights of up to 30 feet in the wild. However, for most home growers, the plant will be kept to a much more manageable size through pruning and shaping. There are two main varieties of the tea plant, Camellia sinensis var. Sinensis and Camellia sinensis var. Assamica. The former is typically grown in China and produces delicate, floral teas like green and white tea. The latter is found primarily in India and produces bolder, full-bodied teas like black and oolong. Choosing a variety. When it comes to choosing a tea plant variety to grow, there are a few things to consider. First, consider the growing conditions in your area. While the tea plant is relatively hardy, it does require specific conditions to thrive. These include a temperate climate, ideally with a temperature range of 50 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, well-draining soil, and partial sun or dappled shade. If you live in a climate that experiences cold winters, it's important to choose a hardier variety of tea plant that can withstand the colder temperatures. Some good options for colder regions include the Russian hybrid tea plant, Camellia sinensis var. Sinensis XC. Thaliensis, which is known for its cold tolerance, and the Canadian tea plant, Camellia sinensis var. Sinensis, which is known for its ability to withstand harsh winters. It's also important to consider the type of tea you want to make when choosing a variety. For example, if you want to make green tea, you'll want to choose a Camellia sinensis var. Sinensis plant. If you prefer black tea, go with Camellia sinensis var. Assamica. Planting your tea. Once you've chosen your variety, it's time to get planting. Tea plants can be grown from seed or from cuttings, though cuttings are generally considered the easier route. If you're growing from cuttings, select a healthy, disease-free plant and take a cutting of about 6 inches in length from a stem that is at least 1 year old. Dip the cutting in rooting hormone and plant it in well-draining soil, making sure to keep the soil moist but not waterlogged. If you're growing from seed, start by soaking the seeds in warm water for about 24 hours. After soaking, plant the seeds about 1/4 inch deep in a container filled with moist potting soil. Cover the container with plastic wrap to create a greenhouse-like environment and place it in a warm, bright area. Seeds should germinate in 1 to 2 weeks. Tea plants should be planted in an area with well-draining soil that receives partial sun or dappled shade. Because tea plants can grow fairly large, it's important to give them plenty of space to spread out. Plant them at least 3 feet apart in rows that are spaced at least 5 feet apart. Caring for your tea plants. Once your tea plants are planted, it's important to care for them properly in order to ensure a healthy, productive crop. Here are some tips for caring for your tea plants. Watering. Tea plants require consistent, thorough watering in order to thrive. During the growing season, spring and summer, water your tea plants regularly, making sure to keep the soil moist but not waterlogged. In the winter, water less frequently, but be sure to keep the soil from completely drying out. Fertilizing. Tea plants require regular fertilization in order to grow strong and healthy. Use a balanced, slow-release fertilizer once a month during the growing season. Pruning. Tea plants should be pruned annually in the spring to keep them at a manageable size and encourage new growth. Prune back any dead or diseased branches, as well as any branches that are touching the ground. Harvesting your tea leaves. Once your tea plants are mature, usually around 3 years after planting, they will be ready for harvest. The timing of the harvest will vary depending on the type of tea you're making. Here are some guidelines for harvesting tea leaves. Green tea. For green tea, harvest the leaves when they are young and tender, usually in the spring. Look for the youngest, smallest leaves on the plant and pick them by hand or with small scissors. White tea. White tea is made from the delicate, silvery buds of the tea plant. Harvest these buds in the early spring, before they open and turn green. Growing mushrooms at home. How to cultivate edible fungi. Growing mushrooms at home. How to cultivate edible fungi. Mushrooms are a delicious and healthy addition to any meal. They are a great source of protein, vitamins, and minerals, and are low in fat and calories. While mushrooms can be found in grocery stores year-round, growing your own at home is a rewarding experience. Not only can it save you money, but it is also a fun and satisfying hobby. In this article, we will discuss how to cultivate edible fungi at home. Choose your mushroom species. The first step in growing mushrooms at home is choosing the right species. There are many different types of edible fungi that you can grow, including oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, button mushrooms, and more. Each species has its own growing requirements, so it is important to choose one that is suited to your climate and available resources. Oyster mushrooms are one of the easiest species to grow at home. They are versatile and can be grown on a variety of substrates, including straw, sawdust, and coffee grounds. They grow quickly and produce a high yield. Shiitake mushrooms, on the other hand, require more specific growing conditions, such as hardwood logs or sawdust blocks. They take longer to mature, but are highly valued for their flavor and medicinal properties. Prepare your growing area. Once you have chosen your mushroom species, you will need to prepare your growing area. Mushroom cultivation requires a clean and sterile environment to prevent contamination from bacteria and other fungi. You can set up a growing area in your basement, garage, or even a spare room in your house. The first step in preparing your growing area is to thoroughly clean and sanitize the space. You will need to remove any dust, dirt, or debris and disinfect all surfaces using a bleach solution. Once your growing area is clean, you can set up your mushroom growing containers. Choose your substrate. Mushrooms grow on a substrate, which is a material that provides nutrients for the fungi to feed on. Depending on the mushroom species you choose, you can use a variety of substrates. For example, oyster mushrooms can be grown on straw, sawdust, or coffee grounds, while shiitake mushrooms require hardwood logs or sawdust blocks. If you are new to mushroom cultivation, you may want to start with an oyster mushroom growing kit. These kits come with everything you need to get started, including a substrate and spores. Simply follow the instructions provided and you will have fresh mushrooms in no time. Inoculate your substrate. Once you have chosen your substrate, you will need to inoculate it with mushroom spores or spawn. Spores are the tiny reproductive cells that mushrooms produce, while spawn is a vegetative growth that has been cultivated from spores. Spawn is typically used because it grows faster and produces a higher yield. You can purchase mushroom spawn from online retailers or local mushroom farms. Once you have obtained your spawn, you will need to mix it with your substrate and place it in your growing containers. Make sure to keep your containers in a cool, dark, and humid space to encourage growth. Maintain your growing environment. Mushrooms require a specific growing environment in order to thrive. Most species prefer cool, dark, and humid conditions, with temperatures ranging from 55 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You will need to monitor your growing environment regularly to ensure that it stays within these parameters. In addition to temperature and humidity, mushrooms also require proper air circulation. You can achieve this by opening and closing the lids on your growing containers as needed. Containers with air vents are also available for purchase, which provide a more controlled growing environment. Harvest your mushrooms. Once your mushrooms have reached maturity, it is time to harvest them. The timing of the harvest will depend on the species you are growing. Oyster mushrooms, for example, can be harvested when they are between 4 and 6 inches in diameter, while shiitake mushrooms should be harvested when the caps have just started to flatten out. When harvesting your mushrooms, make sure to use a sharp knife or scissors to cut them at the base of the stem. Avoid pulling them out of the substrate, as this can damage the remaining mushrooms and increase the risk of contamination. Store your mushrooms. Freshly harvested mushrooms can be stored in the refrigerator for up to a week. If you have harvested more than you can use right away, you can also freeze them for later use. To freeze mushrooms, simply clean and slice them, then lay them out on a baking sheet and freeze until solid. Once frozen, transfer them to a storage container or freezer bag. In addition to the basic steps outlined above, there are a few tips and tricks that can help ensure your mushroom cultivation is successful. For example, you can experiment with different substrate and spawn combinations to find what works best for your growing conditions. Some growers even add supplements like gypsum or bran to their substrate to increase yield and improve nutrient content. Another important consideration when growing mushrooms at home is pest control. Although mushrooms are generally resistant to many pests and diseases, they can still attract flies, mites, and other unwanted critters. Farm to table: the importance of local and sustainable agriculture. Farm to table: the importance of local and sustainable agriculture. In recent years, the farm-to-table movement has gained immense popularity worldwide, focusing on sustainable and local agriculture. From farm-to-table restaurants to community-supported agriculture programs, people are increasingly recognizing the importance of sourcing their food from local farmers and promoting sustainable agricultural practices. The farm-to-table concept has brought attention to the benefits of small-scale, sustainable farming and its impact on our health, the environment, and local economies. The practice of farm-to-table involves serving food that comes from local farms and showcasing the freshness and quality of the ingredients. By promoting farm-to-table, consumers have a chance to reconnect with the farmers who produce their food and understand the challenges and dedication that go into sustainable agriculture. Sourcing food locally has numerous benefits. Firstly, it promotes a healthier lifestyle for consumers, as locally produced food is fresher and more nutritious. Unlike large-scale industrial farming, where food is often transported over long distances, locally sourced food is picked when it's ripe and delivered in a timely manner. This means it doesn't need to be artificially ripened with chemicals or preservatives, which negatively affect its nutritional value. Additionally, local farmers often use more natural methods to grow their crops, such as composting, crop rotation, and natural pest control methods, which leads to healthier ecosystems and overall soil health. Furthermore, implementing sustainable farming practices helps farmers reduce their use of harmful chemicals and synthetic inputs while fostering soil health and biodiversity. Large industrial farms often rely heavily on synthetic fertilizers, which can lead to soil depletion and water pollution. Sustainable agriculture methods provide an alternative by using cover crops to improve soil fertility and minimize erosion, and natural composting to return nutrients to the soil. This approach also helps to conserve water, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and preserve biodiversity. In addition to environmental benefits, farm-to-table promotes the long-term sustainability of local economies. By sourcing food from nearby farms, we support local farmers whose practices promote healthy soil and diversified food systems. This, in turn, helps to create new jobs and local revenue, especially in rural areas where farms are often the primary economic drivers. Small-scale farmers require support from the wider community to remain sustainable. Therefore, farmers' markets, where locally grown products can be purchased directly from the producer, are an essential part of the farm-to-table movement. The direct engagement between producers and consumers helps build stronger relationships and fosters community connections. In this way, consumers can learn more about where their food comes from and the production processes involved. Restaurants have also embraced the farm-to-table concept by sourcing ingredients from local farms. Farm-to-table restaurants prioritize locally grown food instead of importing ingredients from distant locations. This not only promotes the local economy but also allows chefs to experiment with fresher, seasonal, and more diverse ingredients. Chefs often work with farmers to plan menus in advance based on the season's produce, making it easier to offer dishes that showcase local and seasonal ingredients. The farm-to-table movement has also influenced the way people think about food waste. By promoting seasonal menus based on locally available produce, chefs and consumers are encouraged to reduce food waste. Traditional agriculture favors monoculture, which contributes to the degradation of soil ecosystems and often leads to excess production. Sustainable agriculture, on the other hand, prioritizes crop diversity, reduces food waste, and teaches consumers to appreciate the whole plant to reduce wastage. In summary, the farm-to-table movement enables consumers to make informed choices on the food they consume and creates a better understanding of the production process. It promotes locally grown and sourced products, encourages sustainable farming practices, benefits the environment, promotes community connections, and supports local economies. While farm-to-table has its benefits, it is essential to recognize that not all small-scale agriculture is sustainable. Some local farms use harmful agricultural practices, such as the use of pesticides and fertilizers, which threaten ecosystems and human health. Therefore, it is crucial to support farmers who prioritize sustainable methods, such as crop rotation, cover crops, and natural pest control, and to purchase food grown using organic methods or other sustainable practices. People who support the farm-to-table movement are not only supporting a better food system, but they are also contributing to the protection of the environment and the ecosystems that provide us with nourishment and resources. This movement also provides the opportunity to create and strengthen relationships between the producers and the consumers, which has been lost in the era of industrialization. Moreover, the farm-to-table concept is not just limited to the food industry. It can be applied to other industries such as textiles, where the production process can be more sustainable if it is closer to the source of the raw materials. Natural fibers can be produced locally, reducing the need for long-distance transportation and excessive use of water and electricity. Sustainable textile practices also prioritize the health and well-being of the farmers who grow the raw materials. Ensuring fair labor practices and promoting the use of organic and environmentally friendly materials. Incorporating the farm-to-table model into other industries encourages global sustainability by reducing the negative impacts of traditional manufacturing methods, such as pollution and resource depletion. By prioritizing local sourcing and sustainable production methods, we can create a circular economy where resources are used efficiently and waste is minimized. Furthermore, the farm-to-table movement has sparked a broader conversation about food justice and food sovereignty. As we become increasingly aware of the impact of our food choices on the environment, we must also recognize the social and economic inequalities in our current food system. Access to fresh, healthy, and sustainably produced food should not be a privilege reserved for the wealthy. Support for small-scale, Local farming also includes supporting initiatives to provide healthy food options to underserved communities. Farm to table is not just a trend but a movement towards a more sustainable and just food system. It is about shifting our mindset and embracing a more holistic approach to food that considers the environmental, economic, and social impacts of our food choices. By supporting sustainable agriculture and local farmers, we can contribute to the health of our planet, our communities, and ourselves. The farm-to-table movement has also given rise to innovative business models that support local agriculture. One example is community-supported agriculture (CSA) programs, which allow consumers to purchase a share of a local farm's produce in advance. This provides financial security for farmers and helps to create a steady market for their products. The art of seed saving: how to breed and store your own garden seeds. The art of seed saving: how to breed and store your own garden seeds. Gardening is not only a hobby, but it's also a great way to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle. One of the essential aspects of gardening is seed saving, which means preserving the seeds from the plants you grow to use in the next planting season. It's much easier than you might think, and there are plenty of excellent reasons why you should start saving your own seeds. Why save seeds? Saving seeds is a simple yet important step towards the sustainability of your garden and the environment as a whole. When you grow your own food and save seeds, you eliminate the need to buy seeds from a store, which makes you part of the process to reduce waste, save natural resources, and maintain the diversity of species. Moreover, the seeds you save are acclimatized to your region and soil type, which makes them better adapted to the growing conditions. Additionally, it's a way to preserve heirloom varieties and rare plants, which otherwise may not be available in the commercial market. How to get started? Before you start saving seeds, there are a few things to consider. First, the plants must be open-pollinated, which means the pollination process occurs through natural means, such as the wind or insects, and not through human intervention like hand pollinating. Second, make sure the plants are healthy and free from diseases. Once you've selected the plants you want to save seeds from, it's essential to know how they are pollinated. Cross-pollinated plants, such as cucumbers, pumpkins, and squash, need to be isolated to prevent pollination from other plants of the same species nearby. Isolation can be achieved by covering the flowers with a paper bag or using row covers. Self-pollinated or self-fertilized plants, such as beans, lettuce, and tomatoes, don't require isolation, and the seeds can be saved without worrying about cross-pollination. The next step is to let the plants flower and produce seeds. Leave the seeds on the plant for as long as possible until they are mature and dry. When it's time to harvest the seeds, cut the seed pods and dry them in a warm and dry place. For example, you can hang them in a well-ventilated space or spread them out on a tray. Make sure the seeds are completely dry before storing them, otherwise, they could rot or mold. Storing seeds. Storing seeds properly is crucial to their longevity and viability. The ideal environment for seed storage is cool, dry, and dark. Airtight containers, such as glass jars or plastic containers with tight-fitting lids, are great choices for seed storage. Store the containers in a cool, dry place like a pantry or a basement. Labeling is an essential component of seed saving. Always label the containers with the name of the plant, the date of harvest, and any other relevant information, such as the color or variety. This information will be helpful in identifying the seeds when it's time to plant them. Seed viability. The viability of seeds varies depending on the plant species. Some seeds, such as lettuce, cucumber, and onion, can be saved for up to 5 years, while others, such as corn, are only viable for up to 2 years. If you're unsure about the viability of the seeds, you can perform a germination test. Place 10 seeds on a moist paper towel and cover them with another damp towel. Keep the towels moist and warm, and check the seeds every few days. If more than 50% of the seeds germinate, they are still viable. Breeding new varieties. If you want to try your hand at breeding plants, seed saving is an excellent starting point. When you save seeds from a plant, you're preserving the genetic makeup of that plant, which can be used to breed new varieties. Breeding plants can be a time-consuming process that requires patience, experimentation, and a bit of luck. However, the reward of creating your unique variety of plant is worthwhile. To breed plants, start by researching the plant's reproductive systems, and then select 2 plants with desirable traits that you want to combine. For instance, if you want to breed tomatoes, you could look for plants with desirable traits such as disease resistance, early maturity, and a specific flavor. Once you've selected the plants, you need to isolate them from other plants of the same species to ensure they don't cross-pollinate. You can use netting or cages to protect the plants from insects. When the plants are ready for pollination, use a small brush or cotton swab to collect pollen from the male part of a flower and transfer it to the female flower. After pollination, the seeds from the cross-pollinated plants might not produce the desired traits immediately. It could take several generations of cross-pollination to achieve the desired traits consistently. It's a fun and rewarding process that requires some patience and plenty of experimentation. Moreover, seed saving promotes ecological balance by reducing the need for pesticides, fertilizers, and other chemicals. It's also an opportunity to learn about the plants you're growing and develop a closer connection with nature. When you save seeds, you become part of a long tradition of self-reliance, passed down from generation to generation. In addition to the benefits for the environment, seed saving has a social and cultural impact as well. Seed saving fosters local knowledge and traditions and contributes to food security. In many parts of the world, small-scale farmers and indigenous communities rely on seed saving to preserve their cultural heritage and maintain their self-sufficiency. By supporting seed saving, we can strengthen these communities and protect the diversity of our food system. Furthermore, seed saving can be a way to resist corporate control over the seed industry. Microgreens, the ultimate nutritious and delicious crop. Microgreens, the ultimate nutritious and delicious crop. Microgreens are quickly gaining popularity in the world of food, and for a good reason. These delicate little plants, often harvested at just a few weeks old, are packed with nutrients and flavor. They have become a staple in high-end restaurants, but are now making their way into home kitchens as well. If you're looking to add something special to your diet, microgreens might just be the answer. What are microgreens? Microgreens are young, edible plants that are harvested when they have grown their first true leaves. They are typically around 1 to 3 inches tall and come in a variety of colors and flavors. They are often confused with sprouts, but the difference is that microgreens are grown in soil, while sprouts are grown in water. Microgreens can be grown from a wide variety of seeds, including vegetables, herbs, and even some edible flowers. Some of the most popular varieties include sunflower, kale, radish, pea, and beet. They are relatively easy to grow and can be grown indoors or outdoors in a variety of containers. Nutritional benefits of microgreens. One of the most significant benefits of microgreens is their nutritional content. They are an excellent source of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. In fact, some studies have found that they can contain up to 40 times more nutrients than their mature counterparts. For example, red cabbage microgreens have been found to have 6 times more vitamin C than mature red cabbage. Microgreens are also an excellent source of fiber, which can help to promote healthy digestion. They have been found to contain high levels of chlorophyll, which has been shown to have anti-inflammatory properties. Some varieties of microgreens, such as broccoli and radish, have been found to contain high levels of sulforaphane, which is a compound that has been shown to have anti-cancer properties. Growing microgreens. Growing microgreens is relatively easy, making them an excellent choice for home gardeners. They can be grown indoors or outdoors, depending on your climate and space. To get started, you will need some seeds, soil, and a container. One of the most popular ways to grow microgreens is in a tray or container. You can use any container that is at least 2 inches deep, such as a plastic deli container, an aluminum tray, or a ceramic dish. Fill the container with a moist growing medium, such as potting soil, and scatter the seeds evenly on top. Cover the seeds with another layer of soil and mist with water to keep the soil moist. Place the container in a warm, sunny area and keep the soil moist. Within a few days, you should start to see the seeds sprout. Once the microgreens have grown their first true leaves, you can harvest them. Harvesting microgreens. Microgreens are typically ready to harvest when they have grown their first true leaves. Depending on the variety, this can take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. To harvest, use scissors or a sharp knife to cut the microgreens just above the soil line. Rinse them under cold water and pat them dry with a paper towel. They can be eaten immediately or stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to a week. Using microgreens in recipes. Microgreens can be used in a variety of recipes to add flavor, texture, and nutrition. They are often used as a garnish or topping for salads, sandwiches, and soups. Here are a few recipe ideas to get you started. Avocado toast with microgreens. Spread mashed avocado on whole grain toast and top with microgreens, cherry tomatoes, and a sprinkle of sea salt. Microgreen and goat cheese omelette. Whisk together eggs, salt, and pepper. Cook in a non-stick skillet until set. Top with crumbled goat cheese and microgreens. Microgreen and radish salad. Toss microgreens with sliced radish, sliced cucumber, and a citrus vinaigrette. Microgreen pesto. Blend microgreens, garlic, pine nuts, Parmesan cheese, and olive oil in a food processor until smooth. Serve with pasta or as a dip. Caring for your microgreens. To keep your microgreens healthy and growing strong, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, make sure that they are getting enough light. Microgreens need at least 4 hours of direct sunlight each day, so consider placing them near a window or under a grow light. Second, make sure that the soil is kept moist at all times. This means watering them regularly, but not too much so as not to cause waterlogging. Remember, the goal is to keep the soil consistently moist, not wet. Third, make sure that you are using a quality potting mix that is rich in nutrients and free of contaminants. You can find many brands of potting soil online or at your local garden center. Finally, be sure to monitor your microgreens for pests or diseases. Common pests that can attack microgreens include aphids, spider mites, and thrips. Heritage farming, preserving traditional agriculture in modern times. Heritage farming, preserving traditional agriculture in modern times. Agriculture has been the backbone of human civilization and its development. It has been in existence for thousands of years, and throughout different civilizations, it has been practiced in various forms. However, with the advent of modernization and technology, agriculture practices have changed drastically in the past century. It is understandable that modernization and advanced technology have played a significant role in increasing crop production, improving soil fertility, and increasing food supply to meet the growing demand of the population. Nevertheless, the diverse environmental impacts, socioeconomic repercussions, and cultural changes brought by modernity call attention to the need to revisit our agricultural practices to incorporate traditional methods for sustainability. Heritage farming is an agricultural system that prioritizes maintaining traditional farming practices while maintaining soil productivity, crop diversity, and the provision of sustainable livelihoods to farmers. As the world population rises, the demand for food and agriculture has risen as well, creating new challenges that require innovative solutions. This article examines the importance of heritage farming and its preservation in modern agriculture. What is heritage farming? Heritage farming is a farming system that entails preserving and promoting traditional agricultural practices that have been in existence for centuries. This type of farming places a high value on localization and sustainability. Heritage farming is unique because it is the only agricultural system that uses methods that are specific to a particular area, which ensures crop diversity. The components that make up heritage farming are interlinked and range from crop, land, and animal preservation, crop rotation, seed saving, and irrigation techniques. These practices have been handed down across generations, and they thrive on coexisting with natural systems and ecosystems. The link it has with nature and its approach to management makes heritage farming a holistic agricultural system. Importance of heritage farming. Preservation of crop diversity. In the modern industrial world, there has been a significant emphasis on monoculture farming, which involves cultivating a single crop on vast tracts of land. The over-reliance on monoculture has led to several problems such as soil degradation, increased pests and diseases, and a lack of crop diversity. An example is the Irish potato famine, which occurred in 1845 to 1852, when monoculture potato farms were destroyed by a potato disease causing mass starvation in Ireland. Heritage farming understands the importance of crop diversity and the role it plays in ecosystem sustainability. It promotes the use of polyculture and intercropping with the intention of planting diverse crops in the same field. Planting an assortment of crops contributes to soil health, resists pests and diseases, and has the potential to produce a variety of crops throughout the year, providing food security. Localizing agriculture. Heritage farming acknowledges the essence of agriculture in the local context. It takes into account local cultures, traditions, and natural resources when establishing an agricultural practice. This means that heritage farming promotes and maintains locally adapted crop varieties, which are not only unique to the environment but have evolved over time to suit particular ecological conditions. The need to localize agriculture has become increasingly vital as food production becomes more industrialized, and the demand for crops which are not suitable for a particular environment grow. This practice has detrimental effects not just on the local environment but also on local livelihoods, as smallholder farmers are edged out by the monoculture industry. A holistic agricultural system. Heritage farming is not just about preserving traditional practices, it encompasses a holistic approach to agriculture. It understands the importance of coexisting with nature and promotes sustainable soil management and productivity management practices. These practices, such as crop rotation, composting, natural fertilizers, and cover cropping, ensure that soil fertility is maintained, leading to high crop yields. Additionally, they maintain the integrity of the soil structure, which prevents soil erosion. The use of heritage farming practices in the management of soil, crop, and livestock helps maintain healthy ecosystems. Ecosystems are essential in contributing to natural balance, protecting biodiversity, and minimizing pollution. Promotes livelihoods. Heritage farming has intrinsic social, economic, and cultural impacts as a systematic approach to food production. It promotes self-sustainability and cultivates a local food culture in that local communities will become self-sustainable producing their own food, and also creates a sense of community. At the same time, they are supplementing the income by selling surplus produce to locals or markets. The dependence on the world market is reduced, thus contributing to food security and promoting sustainable livelihoods. Revitalizes culture and tradition. Farming has been a lived experience and form of livelihood practice integrated with the local population's cultural and traditional roots. Handing down agricultural practices from generation to generation adds to the intrinsic cultural values that a given community embraces for centuries. Traditional knowledge and farming practices are passed through stories, songs, and rituals, adding to cultural values such as reverence for nature, social unity, and connection to spirituality. The creation of a deep sense of community connection with their heritage makes agriculture a source of life rather than just a livelihood practice. The strong ties between the community and its agricultural practices make it less likely that the agricultural practice will be discontinued or disrupted. Challenges faced in promoting heritage farming. There are several challenges in promoting heritage farming. These are: lack of government support. Governments often do not recognize the benefits of heritage farming and do not have policies in place to promote it. In most cases, they support modern industrialized farming, which contributes to environmental degradation, soil erosion, and creates a dependency on world markets. Inadequate funding. Heritage farming requires substantial investment in terms of labor, inputs, and infrastructure. Without adequate funding, promoting heritage farming becomes a challenge. Managing weeds in your garden, tips and tricks. Managing weeds in your garden, tips and tricks. Weeds are every gardener's worst enemy. Not only do they inhibit the growth of desirable plants, but they also make the garden look unsightly. Weeds are simply plants that grow where they are not wanted and can quickly become a real problem if left uncontrolled. In order to maintain a beautiful and productive garden, it is vital to know how to manage weeds effectively. In this article, we will discuss some tips and tricks to help you keep your garden free from weeds. Understanding weeds. Before getting into the various ways of controlling weeds, it is essential to understand what a weed actually is. A weed is simply any plant that grows where it is not wanted. Any plant that is growing where it should not can be considered a weed. Weeds can be classified into two types, annual and perennial. Annual weeds grow and reproduce in 1 year and then die off, while perennial weeds have a longer lifespan and can grow for many years. The most common types of weeds found in gardens include dandelions, crabgrass, chickweed, and ragweed. Tips for managing weeds. 1. Mulching. Mulching is one of the most effective ways of controlling weeds. Mulch is a layer of material, either organic or inorganic, such as straw, wood chips, or plastic, that is spread over the soil around the plants. Mulch helps to suppress weed growth by blocking out the sunlight that weeds need to grow. It also helps to preserve soil moisture and regulate soil temperature, which can help plants grow better. The best time to apply mulch is in the spring, before the weeds have had a chance to get established. 2. Hand weeding. Hand weeding is the most basic and natural way to control weeds. Pulling weeds by hand is effective for small gardens or areas where there are only a few weeds. However, hand weeding can be a backbreaking task, especially if you have a large garden. One of the best ways to prevent weed growth is to weed the garden on a regular basis. Pull any weeds as soon as you see them, before they have had a chance to take hold. Make sure to pull weeds out by the roots to prevent them from growing back. 3. Herbicides. Herbicides are chemicals that are designed to kill weeds. There are two types of herbicides, pre-emergent and post-emergent. Pre-emergent herbicides are applied before the weeds have emerged from the soil, while post-emergent herbicides are applied after the weeds have started to grow. Herbicides are effective at controlling weeds, but they must be used with caution. Some herbicides can be harmful to the environment, and they can also harm beneficial insects and plants. Always read the label instructions carefully, and follow the safety precautions. 4. Solarization. Solarization is a method that uses the heat of the sun to kill weeds. To use this method, you need to cover the soil with clear plastic for several weeks during the hottest time of the year. The sunlight passes through the plastic and heats up the soil, killing the weed seeds. This method is effective for getting rid of weeds in small areas. However, it can be time-consuming, and it requires a lot of patience. 5. Cover crops. Planting cover crops is another way to control weeds. Cover crops are plants that are grown specifically to cover the soil between crops. They help to suppress weed growth by shading the soil and competing with the weeds for water and nutrients. Some of the most popular cover crops include clover, rye, and buckwheat. 6. Landscape fabric. Landscape fabric is a woven material that is placed on top of the soil to prevent weed growth. It is ideal for use in areas where you want to keep the soil covered but still allow water and air to reach the plants. Landscape fabric is easy to install, and it is effective at suppressing weed growth. However, it can be expensive, and it may not be the best option for larger gardens. 7. Saltwater solution. A saltwater solution is a natural weed killer that can be made at home. Creating a healing garden, using plants for their health benefits. Creating a healing garden, using plants for their health benefits. Gardening has become a favorite leisure activity for many people. Beyond the beauty and relaxing nature of a garden, it can be a great source of health benefits. Hearing about the benefits of gardening may not be new, but have you ever heard of creating a healing garden? A healing garden is designed to positively influence one's physical, emotional, cognitive, and spiritual well-being. This article will explore the benefits of having a healing garden and the plants that can be used to create one. Benefits of a healing garden. A healing garden harnesses the power of nature to offer health benefits. Several studies have shown that a garden, especially one designed for health, can help improve physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. Physical health benefits. The physical benefits of a healing garden mainly come from the physical activity involved in gardening. Gardening involves several physical movements like digging, planting, watering, and weeding, which help improve muscle strength, endurance, and flexibility. Additionally, exposure to sunlight and fresh air helps improve vitamin D synthesis, which is vital for bone and immune health. Mental health benefits. Gardening is also a known stress reliever. It has a calming effect that can help improve mental health. When gardening, there is a sense of accomplishment from seeing plants grow and thrive, which can help improve self-esteem. Studies have also shown that gardening can reduce cortisol, the hormone responsible for stress. Emotional health benefits. Gardening can help alleviate negative emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness. A garden can be a safe and quiet space for people to spend time in and escape from daily stressors. Additionally, a garden can help foster a sense of community and belongingness by providing an opportunity for people to engage in group gardening activities. Social health benefits. Healing gardens can be designed to encourage social interaction. Creating a space for family and friends to gather can help build deeper bonds and promote social well-being. Plants for a healing garden. Healing gardens are designed to soothe the senses and promote relaxation. The plants used in a healing garden can play a significant role in achieving these goals. The following are some plants that can be used in a healing garden. Lavender. Lavender is popular for its relaxing effects. The sweet fragrance of lavender helps reduce anxiety levels and promote better sleep quality. It can be planted in a garden and harvested for its oil or simply used for decoration and scent. Chamomile. Chamomile is also popular for its calming effects. It helps reduce stress levels and promotes relaxation. It can either be grown in a garden or used to make tea. Aloe vera. Aloe vera is popular for its medicinal properties. It can be used to soothe skin irritations, enhance digestion, and improve oral health. Aloe vera is easy to grow and care for, making it an excellent addition to a healing garden. Rosemary. Rosemary is an aromatic herb that not only adds to the visual appeal of a garden but also has several health benefits. It can enhance memory, reduce stress levels, and improve the immune system. Sage. Sage is an herb with several medicinal properties. It can help alleviate respiratory conditions, reduce inflammation, and improve digestion. It is also an excellent insect repellent, making it a perfect addition to a garden. Echinacea. Echinacea is popular for its immune-boosting properties. It can help reduce the duration of colds and flu, and its roots can be used to alleviate pain. Echinacea is easy to grow and care for, making it a practical addition to a healing garden. Additional plants for a healing garden. Apart from the plants mentioned earlier, here are some additional plants that can be used in a healing garden. Calendula. Calendula is a popular garden plant with medicinal properties. The bright, sunny flowers of this plant can be made into ointments or teas to soothe skin irritations, ease menstrual cramps, and relieve inflammation. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is a fragrant herb that is perfect for creating a calming atmosphere in a healing garden. It has antiviral and antibacterial properties, and it can also help reduce stress and improve cognitive function. Peppermint. Peppermint is a cool and refreshing herb that is easy to grow. It has a calming effect on the mind and body, can help alleviate digestive issues, and even repel insects. It can be used to make teas, infused oils, and more. Thyme. Thyme is a decorative, aromatic herb that has many health benefits. It is an excellent source of antioxidants, can help relieve respiratory problems like coughs and bronchitis, and can even help fight acne and other skin conditions. Passion flower. Passion flower is a vine that produces beautiful, showy flowers. It has been shown to help reduce anxiety, improve sleep quality, and even lower blood pressure. It can be used to make teas, tinctures, and more. Final thoughts. Creating a healing garden is a beautiful way to harness nature's power to enhance your physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. With the right plants, you can create a garden that is not only visually appealing but also serves as a calming retreat.